Hey guys, it's Fadra from All Things Fadra, and you know what? There's one place you can go right now that doesn't require a mask, and that is your car. And if you're lucky enough to have a new car like me to be driving around in, well, that just gives you an excuse to safely get out of the house and explore a little bit. This week, I'm driving the 2020 Mazda 3, but it's not just a Mazda 3, it's a Mazda 3 with the premium package, and it's an all-wheel drive. There's some significant things about the Mazda 3 this year. It's a brand new design, and it's a pretty sweet ride. I'm going to show you the inside, the outside, and then I'm going to take you for a drive, and I think you will fully appreciate this compact sedan. The first thing to notice with the Mazda 3 is the design. I just mentioned it has a brand new design for 2020, and you can see that it has this new nose that looks really similar to all the other Mazdas in the line that have been through this redesign. This is called their Soul of Motion, or Kodo design, and I think it gives it a really sleek, really modern look to it. In fact, I had a neighbor who's a BMW owner. I might add, at first glance, think this was a BMW in my driveway. It's not, and the price tag will reflect that, but it's a really attractive. This is the machine gray metallic, which is one of their signature colors. It's got chrome accents, and then let's head around to the back. This is the rear design, and it looks, again, sleeker, but here's what I want you to check out. All-wheel drive. Now quick, I want you to name another sedan that has all-wheel drive. Can you? There's actually only one, and that's the Subaru Impreza. So if you are looking for all-wheel drive in a sedan capability, this is significant. While we're back here, let's take a look at how much cargo space we have in the back. This is kind of a hidden mystery here. To open the trunk, the button is actually underneath the Mazda emblem. We open it, and you'll see that it actually goes pretty deep. I'm reaching all the way in, and I'm just hitting the back seats. The two back seats do fold down, so you do have pass-through space in here. And let's check out what's under this carpeted cover here. A donut. That's always good to know what you're working with here. Not a full-size spare, a donut. But ample, adequate cargo space back here, and kind of no bones. You do have these buttons right here. If you want to put the rear seats down, you can do it from back here. And I'm going to go put them down right now. So it does have a 60-40 split, so you can put the seats down, and you have pretty good clearance here. Maybe like, I don't know, 18 inches. You will want to make sure that your seats are not all the way back, though. Otherwise, these seats will not go down. But that's pretty good space if you need to haul something around town. It probably fit some IKEA boxes. Okay, magically in the back here, nice little pocket handle to close the trunk. And we're gonna go get behind the driver's seat, the most important seat in this vehicle. Getting behind the wheel of the driver's seat, and it definitely has a sports car feel. It feels very low, very nimble. I don't know if this car is made for big people. I'm 5'3" and it fits me nicely. I feel very compact in the cockpit, but let me show you what is all over the dash, because I think it's very well done on the inside. Okay, here we are behind the driver's seat. We're going to start this up, and you hear that noise? You will hear that noise a lot until you put your seatbelt on. Now we're not going anywhere, so it's gonna cut me some slack here. I want to give you a glimpse of what it looks like here from a driver's perspective. It's a very sleek and very compact setup here. Let's take a look at the display on the dash. This is the infotainment system, and the lighting's a little bit challenging here, but that is an 8.8-inch display. I'm going to pull up the Apple CarPlay and hope maybe you can see the screen a little bit better. It's embedded in the dashboard, and there have been a couple different Mazda displays that I haven't absolutely loved, but I think they kind of nailed it here with this one, with the positioning of it. I don't get any glare from it, and it's very, very visible. Then if we move on down a little bit here, we see the climate control. And again, The one thing I noticed, there is a lack of a lot of buttons in this car. And you know what I found? I don't really need them. So this is all of your climate control right here. This controls your temperature for both the driver and the passenger side. This is your fan control. And then these are simply on-off buttons. This is recirculate and fresh air. And this is your mode that you want for your climate control. So it just gives it a very clean, very sleek look. And then of course here you have your defrosters and your heated seats, which is great. So let's move on down a little bit. You see one USB port here, and that is going to be the one, that's the one I have for my phone to activate Apple CarPlay. And they do also have Android Auto. There is a nice little shelf back here for your phone to keep it out of the way. The only problem is it's a little awkward with this cord right here. It's just hanging out there and it kind of gets stuck back in here, especially if you have a drink right here. In fact, I didn't love the positioning of the drink holders here. I just think as a driver, it's just, I prefer them back a little bit further. It's a little awkward for me to have to reach here. If that's not that important to you, no big deal. But cup holders are kind of my thing. Down here we've got the regular shifter, and Mazda does give you sport mode, which just revs the engine a little bit faster, gives you a little bit more torque to if you're trying to pass somebody. And then emergency brake, auto hold, which has become standard in a lot of vehicles. That allows you to come to a stop, take your foot off of the brake, and the car will hold until you hit go again. Now, one of the things I've always loved about Mazdas is this right here. This is called the command control, and this knob right here controls everything that you see up there on the screen. You can see me sort of scrolling through these different options, and then to make a selection, you're essentially going to press down on this button. So it does give you some simple controls. You can go home, you can switch to radio, you can switch to navigation, or you can go back. So I've always loved the ease of this. It's one of the strongest things that Mazda has here. And then of course you can control your volume here, which helps clean up the dash right here. So I'm a little bit prejudiced. I love this about Mazdas, so that's really awesome. Now we're going to talk about this center console, and you might not think there's a lot to talk about. Oh, but there is. Let's go inside. It will open and it will slide, and what it reveals is the Qi wireless charging. So you can actually set your phone right in here. If you're not using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you can set it right here to charge. You do have an additional USB port here for charging and a 12-volt port as well. So it's not over the top with technology, but I think it's got the basics. I love having this wireless charging, especially if I'm using the front port, my passenger can use it for their wireless charging. So you can actually keep the console slid back like this, so you have easy access to your phone, or you can press this latch underneath and slide it all the way forward to protect and hide whatever is under there. Now, while I'm behind the wheel, I think it's only fair to talk about the driving experience for Mazda. This is a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, 186 horsepower, 186 pound-feet of torque. And how does that feel? It feels pretty good. You're not going to mistake it for a sports car, but it definitely is peppy. It's peppier than some others that I've driven. If we're comparing it actually to the Subaru Impreza, light years ahead of that. And it does have sport mode, which just pushes it a little bit further. But what I love about the Mazda 3, and actually most of the Mazdas, is the G vectoring that it has. And what that does is it gives it stability on turns and curves, so that when you're making a tight turn, you won't feel like you're leaning in your seat. It really adds stability to the vehicle, and that is one of the key differentiators that Mazda has with the driving experience. From a safety standpoint, it's got a lot of the things that you have come to expect from vehicles. It's got the dynamic stability control, the traction control, the driver alert attention, the lane departure warning system, the lane keep assist. All of those I've left on the entire time. And let me tell you, that lane keep assist is doing a little bit more than assisting. It's like, no, you better stay in that lane, which is a good thing. It's not that I drift out of my lane, it's just that there aren't that many people on the roads. So I feel like the lines are more of a suggestion these days. Anyway, the lane keep assist is actually doing a very good job of vibrating and steering me back into where I should be on the road. And as long as we're talking driving, let's talk fuel economy. You may not be thinking about that too much because gas is ridiculously cheap right now. And that's good for Mazda because Mazda doesn't do anything electric. They don't do any hybrids. They don't do plug-in hybrids. They don't have, as far as I know, a strong electrification plan. They do make a few diesels, but in terms of fuel economy, Mazda tends to make very fuel efficient engines. So on the Mazda 3 all-wheel drive, and all-wheel drives typically don't get quite as good a gas mileage as front-wheel drives, but on the all-wheel drive, the EPA estimate is 25 miles per gallon in the city and 33 miles per gallon on the highway. I did a combination of the driving. I didn't drive that many places because where am I going to go? But I did see the average of about 28.6. The EPA puts it at 28. So I would say I am right on target. And that is a very respectable fuel economy. Now it's time to get out of this awkward, weird sunlight. Not that I'm complaining about the sunlight. And check out the back seat. Now it's time to talk about the back seat. And there's not a lot to talk about back here. In fact, the biggest thing I want to show you is the legroom. So if you are 5'3", like I am, and you happen to sit behind someone who is 5'3", you're in luck because you are going to have plenty of legroom. But if that doesn't happen to describe you or your driver, then let me show you what you might be in for. My son, who is steadily growing bigger and bigger, sits in the passenger seat. He's maybe 5'8", so he just puts the seat all the way back because he can. And as you can tell, there's not a lot of legroom for the back seat passenger. He could pull it a little bit more forward, but keep that in mind that if you are regularly going to have back seat passengers, it might be a little bit tight. Other than that, it's pretty no frills back here. I don't see any USB connections. I don't see any heat vents or climate vents. I am not crazy about that. I realize it's a small vehicle, but to me, I think that's a must that you should have in the back. So keep that in mind if you are going to regularly have backseat passengers. It's comfortable for 2 people, and we've got this nice console in the middle giving you cup holders. If you have 3 people, you can use the cup holders in the door, but that middle person is gonna be stuck with the hump. You know what I'm talking about, right? That hump in the middle. So this is not a backseat friendly car. The seats are comfortable, but not a lot of frills back here. So let's get the cheat sheet out and let me tell you all of the gory details. So Mazda 3 Sedan with premium package, all-wheel drive, machine gray metallic, white leather interior. The MSRP is $27,900. This is not the base model, okay? This is the premium model. It does have a couple upgrades, including the premium package, a couple of different options on it. With destination charge, it comes in at $30,645. Remember, that is MSRP. Friends don't let friends pay MSRP for vehicles. But that's the sticker price on the car. It's a fun, great little compact sedan. It would be a great commuter car. It would be a great starter car. It would be a great car for anybody that really just cares about their own drive and doesn't really care too much about who rides in the back. But if you are looking for something to do amidst the madness in our country right now, remember, you can always get behind the wheel of a fine automobile and you will be safely distanced from everybody. Thanks for joining me. I hope you saw something you liked, and if you're interested in cars, travel, or entertainment, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button so you can come back and watch more videos just like this. Until then, take care, everybody.